Okay, for 16, here are your answers. Number 1, you need to find the range of the given graph. They were random ordered pairs, so you needed to list them least to greatest or lowest to highest without repeating. So -1, 0, 2, 3 in curly brackets would have been your range. Number 2, you needed to solve the equation. Combine your like terms, so you get -7x, subtract 8 on both sides, and then divide both sides by -7 to get -4. Number 3, you needed to solve this equation for y by moving your x term to the other side. Add your 2x to the other side and then rearrange it so that it's y equals 2x plus 5. And then your y is now solved for. Do you have any questions on 1, 2, or 3? On the back, number 4, you needed to solve this equation, and they were both, you were given ratios, so you needed, or proportions, you needed to cross multiply. So 18 to x minus 5, 6 to x plus 1, distribute, and then start solving. Pick one of your terms, move it to the other side, and then do the opposite, move the other to the other side. And then divide, and you should get x equals 8 no matter how you started that off. Number 5, you needed to graph this, but you needed to solve it first, get it in slope-intercept form. Add 3x on both sides, divide everything by 2, and you get y equals 3 over 2x plus 6. After you get that equation, you can graph it. Your y-intercept is 6, so you should start there. In this case, we can't go up 3 and to the right 2, but we can go down 3 and to the left 2, and that would still give us the same slope. So go down 3, left 2 as many times as possible, and then connect all of your dots. Do we have any questions on 4 or 5? Did we have any of the Khan Academy quizzes that were due on Friday that we had a question on, wanted to go over an example? If you haven't already, take out your inverse variation notes. There should be some in the teal case in the Unit 5 folder. Okay. And then before we start these notes, I just wanted to mention a couple things. 1, you guys' benchmark is Friday/next Monday, unless we have code red, code orange, anything like that, then I'll get pushed. So if you need to or are planning on taking that benchmark, all of your benchmark work needs to be done by one of those dates. You'll have time in class as well to finish working on those / study before taking your benchmark, but remember that needs to get done. And then if anyone is planning on staying after school today, I am still staying after school today, but I have a meeting right after school. So you'll just be waiting outside until that meeting is over. I remember doing 2 of these on Friday and then we stopped. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. So we'll do 2 more, then I'll let you guys try some. And we did 1 using the equation method and 1 using the other method where you find k, put it into the inverse variation equation, and go from there. So we'll do that same thing tonight. We'll do 11 and 14. For 11, we're going to do the equation method. Remember, it's the same thing as before, it's just now in words. So here, if y equals 9 and x equals -6, we're going to multiply those together and set that equal to when we need to find x and y is 3. I'm going to write it so that it's 3 times x. But if you write it x times 3, that's fine too. And then we're going to divide actually multiply and then divide to find what x is. -54 equals 3x. And then divide everything by 3. What is that? -18. Double check that because I don't know if that was right. And then you could put this side back in, -18 times 3 would still give you the -54, so that would still work. It would still give you the same k value. Questions on that one before we move on to 14? For 14, we would need to find our value of k, so take the 2 numbers we are given, -8 and -7, multiply them together. Here we have 56 is our k value. Our equation would then be y equals 56 over x. And then we could put in our missing values. We need to find y when x is -4. So we would put -4 in for x. And then someone divide that and tell me what that is. -14. So you can do it either way, whichever way is more comfortable for you, or if you like both, use both. Do you have any questions on those 2 before I let you try the remaining on your own? I'll give you 3 to 5 minutes to finish those 4, 8, 9, 12, and 13. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about those. As you finish up here, the answers to those 4. 8 was y equals -20. 9 was y equals -12. 12 was x equals 8. And 13 was x equals 3. These are all done the equation method. Does anyone want to see the other method for any of these? Anyone have questions on any of these? Okay, let's go through these word problems. We'll just go through a couple really fast. Just like the direct variation, this is very much the same thing. You're doing the same process, finding the missing value. So for these, it will also say something like varies inversely, inversely proportional, something with those words to tell you which type of word problem it is. And then whatever comes before varies inversely or whatever it says, that's going to be your y. And then whatever comes after is going to be your x. So in this case, if we're looking for, let's say we're doing the equation method, we know it needs to be y times x equals y times x. So the information we know, and it could be x times y also, it doesn't matter. 3 times 65 would equal 78 times, we're looking for how long, which is your time, so y. We could then multiply and then solve for that. Someone multiply 3 times 65 and tell me what that is. I heard 195. 195, thank you. And then divide that by 70. Two point five. And here this would be ours. Do we have any questions on how we set that up, solved that, or got the answer? For the next one, let's use the equation. Let's say I change this from y to x to something else. Because you can do that, you can change these to whatever variables you want, you just have to know which one would have been what. So in this case, a company that produces laptops has determined that the number of laptops it can sell varies inversely. So we know the number of laptops would be like our y, but let's say I want to call it something else. Let's say I want to call it n, which is fine. Just know that that would have been your y. And then the price of the laptop would be like your x, but let's say I want to call that p. Just know that would have been your x. So I would need to find my value k. K stays the same. We're not going to change that one. But now we're going to multiply n and p instead of x and y. Same thing though. With the numbers we know, so 2,000 and 2,500. So these are going to be big numbers. What would that be?
5 million.
5 million. That's 6. Okay, so that would be our k value. Putting this k value into an equation, we would have n equals 5 million over p. And then in the last part of their question, it says how many laptops. So we're looking for number of laptops n can be sold at the price if the price is 1,000. So we can put 1,000 in for p. And find n, which would be what? 5,000 laptops. Anyone have any questions, confusion about anything we just did, how we set that up, how we solved it, how we got that answer? I'm going to scroll down really fast so we can do one more together. Then I want you to try, I'm going to have you do one or two for a couple minutes. We'll go over, I'll show the answers to those, and then we'll be done for today. So for 11, the time it takes to bake a turkey varies inversely. So this would be our y and x. Or if you want to call that B and O, T and probably not T again, but you do big T, little t, or something like that. If it takes 3 hours to bake a turkey at 300 degrees, find the constant of variation. So in this case, we're just looking for K. We're not looking for the equation or another missing variable. So we would just multiply these two together. To get 900, and 900 would be our K value. There are 3 problems left. I want you to pick one of these and do this one. This is finding your K, so one of those and 12 in the next couple of minutes. And then we'll go over those and be done for today. I'm going to check them afterwards, that's fine. Don't know who did 9 or 10, but I'll put both. This was I don't need to put it in there. So 9 was 9, the width was 9. 10 was 8 workers, and for 12, your K value was 294. So if you didn't get those, double check to see, look at your work. If any of this did not make sense and you want to get more help or more practice on this, come see me after school today. Tomorrow we'll be starting our last set of notes. It's a little bit more complicated, but more or less the same. And then remember that you guys now have one set of math on this stuff that's due tomorrow, and one Khan Academy that's due on Friday. Some of you tried that already, but maybe you could go back and try it again now that we've finished this. And let me know if you need help on either of them.